voice, making a real difference at a critical turning point in his or her life. Because every child deserves a chance, and that chance is you. Volunteer today at becomeacasa.org.
Sponsored by Texas Casa.
Go now to zone1150.com and make your picks in our second chance brackets. You can win $100 to Rudy's Barbecue and a gift card from Max Express. It does not matter if you entered Zone Madness, powered by Polaris Fun Center. The second chance brackets are open to anyone. You pick the entire field from scratch, starting with the Sweet 16. Anyone and everyone who wants a shot at $100 to Rudy's Barbecue and a gift card from Max Express, go now to zone1150.com, click on Zone Madness, and make your picks in our second chance brackets.
Good afternoon, Bryan College Station. Welcome to the Beliucci Hour Lunch live on Sports Radio 1150 The Zone, 102.7 FM. I'm your host, Ryan Brauninger. We are here at the Tap on Harvey Road, as we are every Monday and Thursday, to talk all things Aggie sports and Aggie athletics. If you're driving around looking for a place to come grab lunch, come check out the Tap's great lunch menu, $8.49 specials up and down the menu, all good items, something you can really get you through your day here at the Tap. Don't forget, right here tonight on the stage, karaoke. Wednesday nights, piano bar, and now on Tuesdays and Fridays for the foreseeable future in the spring. The Tap will have crawfish starting at 6 o'clock, like I said, on Tuesdays and Fridays. What a weekend for sports in general, but for A&M sports. And on the A&M campus, phenomenal performance by Gary Blair and his girls back into the Sweet 16. And I say this, and I've said it, I've asked Liucci this before on the show. I mean, when you start looking at Gary Blair's tenure or just the history of women's basketball at Texas A&M, where do you rank Kennedy Carter all time with still a season to play? She is 2 seasons to play. Excuse me. Yeah, 2 seasons to play. She is already etching her name amongst the all-time greats, Sid Colson, Daniel Adams, Sid Carter, all those girls that helped A&M win that national championship team. But Kennedy Carter with a huge three-pointer late. Shambria Washington with a couple of huge shots late to lift the Aggies past Marquette yesterday at Reed Arena and send Gary Blair into another Sweet 16. And I thought it was I don't know if you guys read or heard Gary Blair's post-game comments, and said he's tired of people doubting his team and he's tired of people wondering when he's going to retire. And he's given all the doubters every reason to shut their mouths with another Sweet 16 appearance. And they may run in, I believe, is it Notre Dame? They've got Notre Dame in the Sweet 16, which will be a very tough out for the Aggies. But, they beat them before in the tournament setting to win the national championship. So the brand of Notre Dame basketball won't intimidate Gary Blair and his girls. So I was really happy to see that yesterday. Obviously, everybody's talking about their brackets. It's been kind of weird how the men's Sweet 16, it's almost chalk. I mean, it's 1 4s and 2 3s all up and down this thing, and with the sprinkling of Oregon mixed in. And who's the other double-digit seed I'm missing? Oregon's the only one. That's right. And then the highest seed outside of that was Auburn at 5. And so, like I said, a lot of chalk in the bracket. Top seeds holding form, and I don't know that. I mean, I like the LSU-Michigan State matchup. LSU's got so many athletes. Michigan State's beat up a little bit. But there's no way that I'm not going to pick Michigan State in that game with the coaching differential. As usual, Billy comes in here running his mouth after he was at a very questionable concert last night.
Pink?
Very questionable.
Yeah, there's nothing questionable about it.
What?
I'm sorry, I just don't only go to Texas. I drape myself in the flag, Billy.
Well, here's my thing.
Drape myself in the Texas flag.
You go to a lot of cool concerts. That one last night was not cool.
That girl Pink's got some bizarre hair. She's got a blonde
She's got even worse music.
Shoot.
Did you empower?
You wouldn't know a good singer if she came up and punched you across the face.
Did you empower your feminine side last night?
No, she's not. She doesn't like. She's not. I'm trying to think of who's like that. She's not like that. She doesn't.
It's like a very girl power singer.
It probably is, but I went with a girl.
Oh, well.
So, I mean, I didn't invite you to that one, did I?
Speaking of somebody
I'll be
punching
at
you in the face.
I'll be at Mark Chestnut.
Which you invited me to.
I'll be at Mark Chestnut Saturday. Well, you're uninvited now.
On air, you're going to
on air. This is an on air.
I was calling you out on
uninviting.
air.
He ridiculed Pink, so he doesn't get to see the nut.
Well, now I'll find a way.
Chestnut.
I like
you missed out on
All right,
him.
but speaking of punching you in the face,
what?
How about the guy that on Twitter this weekend?
I mean, there's this new thing with these Longhorns.
If you see Beliucci in public, can somebody please punch him in the face and knock your crooked eye straight? I didn't know you had a crooked eye.
That's what somebody asked me. They were like, do you have a crooked eye? Apparently so. I guess so. I do think when I get drunk, sometimes I'll get a case. Leone gets it too. We always joke about it. You get like like a lazy eyebrow, not the eye.
Every time these Longhorn fans challenge you to a fight, I always like to give them tips on how, if you see him, here's what you do. Here's his weak spots.
Yeah, because you've seen. But I don't understand, how this has become a thing where these Longhorns, they're saying I've got a real punchable face and that they want
it's always somebody else to punch.
Last week it was they should pull up. This week this guy was like, knock my crooked eye straight. It's going, I guess I need to have my head on a swivel. But
it's never the guy
for the local authorities listening. If you see me, out and about with friends and someone running up on me, you know what's happening.
It's Twitter tough guy.
But there's part of me that welcome the attempt. I'm not gonna lie.
It's always the guy with he's got no Twitter picture and his name is like UTEX Longhorn forever.
Well, there'd be a lot of pin-up, for Aggies everywhere. Not for Aggies, just everyone, these guys on social media that just there's no recourse or consequence for what they do or say. I think one time I ran into a guy, and he actually came up to me and said, I don't like what you're saying about Oklahoma. I'm so-and-so. And I said, I actually thought you were a female because of his name. He had a girl's name. And I was like, I literally would have talked more crap to you, but I've always thought you were a girl. His picture was like him and his girlfriend. I thought it was his girl. So I go, man, this girl's really aggressive to me. I was explaining it to him. Annie Kuntz and them were there, and I said, because I was like, I'm trying to enjoy some time with my friend. I don't like you or respect you at all, so I just want you to know that. And then what else do you have to say? And he was like, well, I just think you're too hard on Oklahoma and the Big 12.
There are people that wake up.
All right, well, I don't respect your opinion, but I appreciate you saying it to me. And I go, you're better than most of the people that just, he sought me out. Hey.
When I see people do that to you, I audibly laugh wherever I'm at.
I also said you might want to step off this curb and take a step back away from me first, because he was he was the size of this cup. Front table would have worn him out.
Speaking of cup,
you guys would have got
nice
him.
segue. I was going to talk about tight ends today and what you've seen in spring
really?
practice. Yeah.
Well,
the front table was complaining because they see too many pictures of Jimbo, and they want pictures of Baylor Cup, and they want pictures of Vernon Jackson.
Okay.
So what have you seen? Because to satisfy their need to talk about the incoming freshman.
Here's what I've seen. I've seen Baylor Cup run around out there with no contact, make a really nice one-hand catch, and catch a few passes against air for 2 days. That's what we've seen at practice. And I'm not complaining. I like the closed practices, open in the media for the start. I think that's how coaches should do it. I don't think they should completely shut the media out by any stretch.
And there's no way the media should be
I
there
also
the
don't
entire
think they
time.
should be out there the entire time, ever. It's just it doesn't allow people to coach the way they want to coach. It doesn't allow you run the risk of someone's running off and rambling about injuries. You run the risk of not controlling who's in there to see it or what's being leaked. I'm all for closed practices. I'm all for open at the beginning. But to answer the question, we haven't seen much. So I've heard that there's been nothing at all to change the opinions of those that think Baylor Cup's going to be a special tight end. And, in fact, there's been, early returns. Keep in mind, guys, you've got to remember this. And we have to remember this. Me, you, Gabe, Olin, especially Sandhop. You've watched a total of 20 minutes of
3
practice
practices.
minus contact. And the coaches themselves have seen 3 practices, one of which has been bats. So, I know everybody's thirsty for information, but let's wait and give it. Let them get like a third of the way through spring ball. Let them get 4 padded practices. Let them get a scrimmage under their belt. We'll start hearing things. But as far as Cup and Beal, I think they're going to be, really pleased with how those guys block at tight end. And I think Cup is going to be a difference maker. On the day that Gronk retires, I will say, Cup has that kind of potential. I mean, Gronk is going to go to the Hall of Fame. He played for 9 years.
Yep.
How many guys? It's like Barry Sanders is the last guy, I think, that I remember that played that short amount of time and is a lock, surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's what Gronk. So, not to say that about Cup, but from a physical skill set comparison, he's going to be that big. He can run like that. He's got enormous hands, and he can block. I think he's going to be a special weapon.
I think what
I also think Corbin is going to be Deshaun Corbin.
Okay,
is
let me
going
ask you
to be a
this.
special weapon.
We always look at the team and are impressed that when we go see them for the first time physically. You know what I noticed? And I asked you what the biggest thing you noticed, but for me was how long they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys 6'5" plus at a lot of positions running around out there.
Yeah, they really are. And even the ones that aren't 6'5", like for their position, you look at the tall, rangy corners. You look at, and then along the defensive line, even guys like, Peavy and Tyree Wilson, who's not practicing yet, DeMarvin Leal, who's not practicing yet. Even walking around out there, Josh Rogers, but Jeremiah Martin. Well, now you're going into the realm of the whole defensive front. That's the most impressive group on the field for me, just physically. When you look at them, you go, damn, dude. And when you factor in the experience and the guys coming back and the guys that are kind of added to the mix,
and the mixture of talent, they all do different things. I think it's the best A&M's had in terms of top to bottom, up and down, check all boxes by a bunch of different guys.
I was talking to Dodson. Tyrell loves talking about football. He's really in tune with that team, and he was saying, what do you think about the defensive line? I said, I think by mid-season where they have a chance to be better than last year's. And he was like, really? Because he knows better than me, you, anybody how good that front was last year because he played, 4 feet behind it. And he watched, we saw what those guys did, Kiki, Mack, Landis. You lose all those, those 3 up front, and that's a lot to lose. But then, I'm like, well, you bring back Matabike. Bobby Brown's sitting at about 330 right now, and they put him in there to man the nose, and good luck to opposing. You got Peavy, who's doing really well, by the way. You mentioned Tyree Wilson. Tyree Johnson. Tyree Wilson's been out. Jeremiah Martin's starting to make noise. I'm starting to hear, there was a level of excitement about him coming in, and then I don't think that's waned at all through a few practices. But
Derek Hunter,
and he's another one they're talking about too. So Max Wright, and I think no matter how it shakes out, Max Wright's going to be a factor this year. So
he's going to play. He's going to do everything right every time, every play. He's going to be where he should be.
And he's good. Here's the thing: Max Wright is really talented. Tyree Wilson, they don't make dudes like him very much. You see him now at 6'6", 260. He's got like a 7'2" wingspan. That's not, and Max Wright is a really talented athlete, and we forget that about him. Maybe it's because of the knee.
Legitimately could be playing baseball here too.
Yeah,
he's like that legitimate of an athlete.
Yeah. So again, and these are guys that are way down. Again, I think they'll play and contribute, but they're not in the discussion yet as starters. And so there's depth, there's experience, there's first-round top-end talent, I think, in Matabike and Brown, and I think Peavy has the physical potential to be a high draft pick. You look at, DeMarvin Leal, though he's just going to be a true freshman, the talent he's got. So a ton to work with up there. That stands out, and I'll tell you what low-key stands out to me when I watch him. There's a lot of talent in that backfield. And I'm going to say this, Bronny. Jimbo mentioned him during our interview last month. Deneric Prince is turning heads.
It's explosive, man.
Vernon Jackson ripped off a long touchdown, or what would have been a touchdown run the other day in practice. I said Corbin's going to be spectacular. He's going to have a lot of long touchdown runs this year. Long touchdown catches, long runs, maybe a couple of TD return. He's going to be one of the most explosive offensive weapons in the Big 12, and I think it starts this year as a sophomore. Or that too. He'd actually be really good in the Big 12, the SEC.
On the other side of the break, a lot more to spring ball to get to, and we get Liucci's thoughts on Braden Shoemake's weekend in Kentucky. Listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone.
Actually, let me get yours, too, just so I don't ignore your call, Or a dead number, courtesy of Grasshopper. It was a pleasure. Our number is 1-833-IT-TROOP. Give us a call anytime. There's no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com. Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why aren't more things in life customizable? Why should I pay the same amount for a compact parking space as I do for a regular space, right? What kind of lot doesn't reward me for selflessly buying a smaller car to provide more parking room for?
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
On Sports Talk, Chip tries to educate Allie on all the moving parts on The Bachelor.
He kicked out everyone, including Taishia and Hannah G.
Oh, well.
And
how could you? What about Hannah G?
Well, now Hannah B is going to be the new Bachelorette.
Oh, okay.
From Alabama, y'all.
Sports Talk, hooking up our listeners for almost 25 years. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on Sports Radio 1150 in the Zone 102.7 FM.
Welcome back to the Beliucci Hour Lunch, live on Sports Radio 1150, the Zone 102.7 FM. Ryan Brauninger, Billy Liucci with you from here at the Tap on Harvey Road. If you're looking for a place to come grab lunch, come check out the Tap's great lunch menu. 840 burger basket comes with fries and a drink. And that font is not a conducive color for me to read the other special today. So whatever the other special is, it's going to be really good. Also, karaoke tonight and piano bar on Wednesday. Luch.
Bronny.
2 years ago, A&M Kentucky baseball came to Olsen Field and swept A&M.
Saw your tweet.
And they did it with a lot of service, and then squeeze bunted up 9-1 on Sunday late, which caused
even football, though it's a certain amount of games. Like I keep going back to like the Kellen Mond thing and people that were like ready to they still can't get over the quote-unquote Ole Miss game where he threw some beautiful-ass passes, counted for like 4 touchdowns, but he had 2 turnovers in there, and everybody was ready to end it, and he had 1 turnover in the next like 4.5 games since. It's a long, just like the A&M football team, it's a long season, and it's not over when you lose on the road at Auburn and blow a lead, and you've lost 2 SEC games in a row. But that's especially true in baseball and in basketball, as we saw last year with that frustrating basketball team. You're seeing it right now with Auburn. They went almost the same path as A&M, soaring early, hit the skids, almost played their way onto the bubble, come back, second round, humiliate one of the college football blue bloods. A&M humiliated Carolina, humiliated Kansas. What baseball's doing right now, though, 5-1 SEC play. 5 of their last 6?
No, 6 of their
6 of their last 7.
Yeah.
And I know that this is not the World Series Kentucky team.
No. But it was on the road at a new ballpark, and you sweep in the SEC.
It's not the World Series Kentucky team. Rice does not have the old man trotting out there.
It's way different.
Wayne Graham. They do not. It's not any of the Rice teams, but Vandy's pretty damn good.
Swept Florida this weekend.
And you're beating these teams. And like you said, it would have been a success to go out to Kentucky and go 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
They went out there and swept them emphatically on the road in an SEC series. This morning I said, it's hard to sweep the 14th best team in the 14-team SEC. That is hard to do, is to go sweep that team. And they beat Kentucky, who is that's a good program they swept.
Yeah,
they might not be as good as they were 2 years ago. They
went toe-to-toe with LSU in 2 of the 3 games in Baton Rouge and just lost them. But here's the thing.
A hard sweep to get.
A&M moves into the top 10 this week, number 10 in America on D1 baseball.
Earned their way in, too, by the way.
Yeah, because they were starting that poll unranked. You don't get any – like you think, okay, Missouri, they've probably struggled the most of any team in the SEC. All they do this weekend is take 2 out of 3 from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
This conference is a bear. And like I said on the radio on Friday, 15-15. If you don't get swept on the road and win your series at home, 15-15 in this conference, you host a regional with that. That's how crazy this thing is. So
well, A&M in that case too, though, they got to keep playing the way they are and winning these midweek games.
Yeah,
because they gave a couple of them up early. So, but I'm saying in the SEC, you're right. You're absolutely right about going 500, and you're probably a 2 seed.
If you win 18, you may win the conference.
So where I'm going with it is if you're to get to 15, let's say to get to 16 and 14 and have a winning record in this conference. I'm not saying they will or have to sweep Missouri this weekend. You don't.
The series.
But if they were to sweep them at home, which they just did on the road to a better team, if they do it, and they're 8-1 through 3 series, and you're sitting here going, yeah, it is kind of can you get a winning record in the league? That's kind of the first step. And then to get to 16, it's like the rest of the way. You go 8-13, and your winning record, and you're probably in the title discussion, really. But I'm just saying, what I was talking to Gabe about, if they were to somehow find a way to win them all this weekend, even if they win 2 out of 3, you're off to such a good start. You could play 500 ball like your next 4 series, which also isn't easy. But you could do that, and you're 2/3 of the way home, and you're right there in the top in the race for first place. Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. The schedule gets much tougher. You got the Texas midweek. You got LSU on the road. So, and then you who else? Auburn's in there. They're the top 10 program. So, it's going to get crazy. But glad I want to get your thoughts on that. On the other side, we'll go back to spring ball. Don't forget to get your questions up here for us to answer in that final segment. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone.
From News Talk 1620 WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM. Nearly 7 years ago, Union Pacific announced plans for a new rail yard north of Mumford. Construction began in January of last year. UP spokeswoman Kristen South says the pace of work is slowed from having 300 contract construction employees to 90.
We continue to work on things like grading and drainage and track work, and those projects are still coming together nicely for us.
Last year, UP announced operations would begin next year at the $550 million project. South says now there is no time estimate when it will open. State Representative John Rainey of Bryan has been named chairman of a House subcommittee on high-speed railroads. Rainey previewed what he expects on WTAW's The Infomaniacs.
The rural folks seem to be opposed to it. Urban folks seem to be in favor of it. So we're just going to listen to testimony and learn more about it and keep an open mind.
Rainey says the emotions from landowners who oppose high-speed rail are similar to what landowners faced when Interstate 45 was built. In his district, Rainey says he has more emails supporting the Texas Central Bullet Train, which goes through neighboring counties. A Franklin man remains in the Brazos County Jail following his arrest by College Station police Friday night for leading a patrol officer on an 8-mile pursuit. According to the arrest report, a motorist at Texas and Harvey reported seeing a driver asleep behind the wheel of his pickup. The patrol officer found the truck headed south on Texas near Holloman. No other vehicles were in the southbound lanes as the pursuit continued on Texas, then the southbound freeway frontage road. The pursuit ended when another officer deployed stop sticks and the driver's side front tire shredded on the frontage road near Nantucket. 56-year-old Glenn Bartley was arrested for DWI and evading arrest. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM.
From Miller Lite, it's here again. Chili Fest 2019, presented by Miller Lite, is headed to Snook, Texas, April 5th and 6th for 2 days of live music. This year with Saturday performances by Kyle Park, Flatland Cavalry, Whiskey Myers, Randy Rogers Band, and headliner Cody Jinks. Plus, Friday performances by Battle of the Bands winner John Horde, Colby Cooper, Cody West, Shane Smith and the Saints, and headliner Pat Green. While on site, visit the Texas Fleet Outfitter truck and register to win $2,500 in free truck accessories from Texas Fleet Outfitters. Visit chilifest.org for more info. Chili Fest 2019, presented by Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company, great beer, great responsibility. 21 means 21.
Folks are always looking for a place to meet friends, grab some food, relax, and unwind with a cold beer, mixed drink, or glass of Boots Sweet Tea. The Tap on Harvey Road has been the place to do just that for nearly 30 years. A casual atmosphere and tasty food keeps people coming back for more. Our burgers, salads, chicken tenders, nachos, and more are sure to satisfy whatever craving you have. And being in SEC country, the Tap is a great place to meet before, during, or after the game. See you at the Tap on Harvey Road in College Station.
Liucci going through his Pink catalog during the break, trying to convince me that last night's concert was a really worthwhile venture.
She has some bangers. Look, America disagrees with you. America and the world is on my side.
I'm really kind of pumped about some concerts coming up, though.
Who?
Well, the Chili Fest lineup's the best it's ever been.
Is it? I love it. I'm not
unbelievably good.
I should be a historian as much as I go to it, but I'm just.
It's legitimately all. I mean, like Pat Green's on Friday.
Yeah.
It's and Cody Jinks headlining on Saturday. It should be a good weekend for you guys making it out to
I've been
Snook.
doing a lot of country stuff lately. 4 rodeos.
Saw Trevor and I went and saw Garth Brooks last night.
I texted Trevor. I was like, dude, I would have flown to – forget about Pink. I would have flown to Arizona. I would have double dipped. Garth Saturday, back to Dallas, Pink Sunday. I'm a man of the people musically. I'm a man of the people. By the way,
it's like your selective hometownism.
By the way, smoke show dancers for Pink. I mean, wow.
That's what you.
But what?
Like you went with a girl.
Now there are a bunch of shirtless dudes dancing for her too. So I'm not talking about them. The girls were hot.
Can we talk about something?
There
other
was a
than,
Tebow look-alike as one of her dads looked just like Tebow.
You should have sent it to
I
me.
was like, good Lord, dude.
You mentioned the D-line standing out, and was there
they stand out when you see them,
right.
and they're going to be good.
You know what? I was surprised by, the weight that R.J. Arabo, like the incoming guys, like looks like Zach Calzada's put on good weight. And I think Jimbo even spoke about how athletic and how adept he's been at picking up the playbook. I think what most people are, that's the biggest intrigue, at least for me, is the new guys that come in and what they look like and how close will they be to contributing.
I've heard good things about Andre White.
That's another one that looks like.
Yeah.
They calls him Jimbo called him A. White and B. White, the two linebackers. A.
Yeah.
White and B. White.
I've been impressed.
Braden White, the gals on the team talk very highly of that kid.
He's going to play no matter what.
Like he's
going to play.
He's rocked up, and the guys on the team say he's a real dude.
He's going to play this fall for Texas A&M. I don't see any doubt about it. And yeah, he's certainly got the respect of the locker room and stuff. He can play ball, period. That was actually a John Chavis special. Chavis played with his dad, or I think he either played or coached with his dad. Was like a great player in the state of Alabama in high school. He's just small, but he's a thick, muscled up dude. He lacks height, but he's got some playing experience under his belt.
Sure he does.
He'll play, but you still need guys like Andre White.
I'm sure Keith McGee will play.
Yeah, and in August you need guys like Chris Mitchell to step up and be a player early. You need Anthony Hines to be all the way back. Chris Russell. Who's Chris Mitchell?
In your pantheon of Aggie football names,
I don't think it's a Texas A&M player. No, there's not. I knew a Chris Mitchell here. He was a TAP regular back in the day. That dude would come in here and clean out a bar real quick. Him and his crew of goons that I was friends with. But anyway, Chris Russell, Anthony Hines needs to come back from that knee. Right now, there's nothing there in terms of depth.
Well, he spoke highly of Buddy.
Yeah.
Jimbo spoke highly of Buddy, and this is I think it's a big spring for Buddy in terms of leadership and understanding the defense, and it's imperative that he takes the next step if this defense wants to be as good as it was last year.
Yeah, because you can be as good as you want up front, but if you're not good in the back seven, I think in the secondary it's going to work itself out and be a strong unit.
Surprised that Clifford Chapman's at the nickel?
Not at all. Wrote about that a lot during the offseason. I mean, he's so versatile. And, again, when they get Miles Jones back, I don't know what his injury is. He just has a cast on his hand, so it's not like a long-term thing. But when they get him back, and I've heard the DBs have performed well. You know whose name has been mentioned too. And
if it's Chuck Oliver, you're going to make people mad.
Oh, I know, and it's not. But I'm not saying he hadn't done well. But I've watched a little bit, but just it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, that Ronnie Elam's turning heads too. And remember the way he finished the season.
He played well at the end of the year.
Remember him against LSU and in that bowl game. Some of these guys just take longer to develop. They got to be in the right system. Maybe the system's better for him than Chiefs was, which is ironic when Chief and them recruit him. But, yeah, I mean, he and Chapman are kind of interchangeable parts right now in that nickel spot, and I think they're just calling it more of a nickel now than a rover, meaning it's going to typically be more of a DB.
Yeah.
But
Deshaun Caper-Smith
against certain team who was very valuable last year. If you ask players and coaches, Lefty had a much better season. I think fans and even we gave him credit for, because we talked about him a little, but not a lot. He had a hell of a bounce back end of your career type season, but I think those two at nickel, you play a team where you want a little more size, and maybe Chapman's the guy that disrupts in there with his length and his size and physicality, and then other times it's Elam, and you want a guy that can line up and cover a shifty slot guy like that. So, yeah, I think that's going to ultimately be a position of strength, and I'm not even sure you couldn't put, if you're going to go that route, I'm not sure Eric Young couldn't see some of his first playing time there.
Yeah.
Or maybe Damani. I mean, that spot gives
Damani
you
showed
so
that
much
on his
flexibility.
high school film. Yeah, it's how
that spot gives you a lot of flexibility.
Last thing on spring ball, I want to get to some recruiting thoughts with you too. But I watched when I went last Wednesday, I made it a point to go and watch the offensive line for the last 10 so minutes that we were out there. Just wanted to get a feel for Josh Henson and how he works with his guys. I'll say this, it's not near as – you don't hear him as much from a distance as you did Jim Turner.
Yeah.
And Jim Turner had that real distinct voice, and he was pretty loud. Josh Henson is like close quarters with these guys, talking to them individually, collectively. It's 3 or 4 at a time. And they had them split up almost down the middle, and one half was working with Lee Grimes, and the other half was working with Josh Henson. And I think, again, the Lee Grimes continuity thing is –
Yeah, you're a big proponent of
I
Grimes.
think
Does he have you on the payroll?
No, but I
what?
just think Lee's going to be a fantastic coach
I do
one day.
too. I think he's going to be really good. And I think I don't know when it's going to be, but I think in his career, at some point on his resume, it's going to say, Texas A&M offensive line coach. And it's great that they're able to keep him. And
from a recruiting perspective, I can tell you that
just from a personality standpoint, I see him and Henson being a great mesh. I really do.
Well, and on the recruits, I've had 3 or 4 offensive line recruits from the Houston area tell me how important it was for them that Lee Grimes was still on staff.
Yeah.
It's that familiarity. It's that comfortability. Josh Bankhead was very open about it. Said, a lot of people don't know that me and him have a lot of the same things have happened in our past. Mm-hmm. And so we vibe, and I was so happy that he stayed.
I just think he's going to be what he's going to be too when he's a full-time staffer is an excellent recruiter. He's also good. He's as these grad assistant guys do, they can be very helpful with the relationship building and stuff like that.
Anything surprise you about with Tank Jenkins being in the starting rotation?
It doesn't surprise. I mean, I'm trying to think. You got Hawker at a guard spot, McCollum at center. Unless you were going to – I thought maybe they might start out with Prater at center. He had a little more experience there, and he was the veteran. But I like McCollum there because I think long-term it's either going to be McCollum or Matthews or Clement.
Barton.
But they're not even there right now. But I think long-term, Matthews is playing guard still right now. But McCollum can be that guy, Bronny. And I think you look at how much he improved last year in the last 4 games or so, and he just got better and better. You look at him a year ago, or a year before, having to go out there to Florida and play, and he was having his hands full. Oh, by the way, that guy was a first-round pick in Taven Bryan. He's just gotten better, and now you look at him out there and you watch him. I was watching him Saturday. He's got a leadership air about him. I know he's like a tough guy in there. He's a no BS dude. I think he's got a chance to hang on to that and be that guy. And he can play it. He can play the position. He's smart. He knows, he knows the scheme now. So it'll be. But if he's going to be there, then yeah, Tank at guard doesn't surprise me. And you heard Jimbo when they signed him talking about how athletic and how unusually light on his feet and agile the guy was for being. And he probably, I don't know.
He's lost weight since
I bet he was 350 something at some point. Now he's like 330.
Yep.
He's like 330, maybe even a little less.
Changed his look, flattened his belly out a little bit.
He's still a big belly dude,
big
dude, but that's a guard in the SEC.
Yep.
But I told you last week.
Who was the dude, the guard at Bama that had the huge gut, would roll his jersey up? Warmack.
Chance Warmack. You could see half. You should change his name to War Crack because you could see half his butt crack every time he got into a stance. Those Bama linemen, they ought to be sponsored by like Danny's like Moons Over My Hammy or something. They get down in their stance, you see about 6 inches of crack. Crack kills, and so does the Alabama offensive line. But yeah, Tank Davis. I'm going to keep saying it. Tank Jenkins is.
You're saying funny stuff. The front table's not even listening.
Yeah, they're in their own world. Yeah. Look at him over there. He's over here worried about the fourth stringer that didn't practice once last week or something. But Tank, I'll tell you what he is. It really stands out. He can move like that. He's a heavy-handed dude, and you can tell in his punch. He'll kind of jolt you when he hits you. And you can't really coach that. And even Jerry Schmidt, you can only train that so much. You can get stronger and stronger in these. But to have that punch where it just jolts the defensive lineman when he get and he's got that, and I think that word carries a lot of weight when you're playing football in the SEC.
On the other side of the break, we'll close the show with your question from here at the tab. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone.
Get your show alerts, game score updates, and reminders on upcoming guests. Follow us at Zone 1150 on Twitter.
Kelly Burt Dozer has been clearing the path for progress for over 35 years. So before construction ever starts on any new home or business, your first thought and your first phone call should be Kelly Burt Dozer. Since 1978, Kelly Burt Dozer has handled hundreds of jobs throughout the Brazos Valley. They know the obstacles you must overcome to successfully excavate and fully prepare this terrain with efficient solutions to ensure a job well done, no matter your time frame or budget. That's Kelly Burt Dozer. Call 778-1902 or click kellyburtdozer.com.
There's a Kubota for every job. There's a Kubota for every harvest. There's a Kubota for every task. And at Normandy Tractor, for a limited time only, let Vernon and the boys show you what they have. Get the new Kubota L2501 DT 24.8 horsepower tractor loader with quick attach bucket and quick hitch and 5-foot shredder now through June 30th for a cash price of only $15,899. Our payments as low as $160 per month based on 20% down, 0% APR for 84 months. And remember, most any trade-in can be your down payment. Normandy Tractor has over 8 acres of Kubota tractors, Kubota RTVs, ATVs, and Kubota mowers to choose from. Normandy Tractor voted best to the Brazos since 2002. Corner of Highway 39 and OSR in Normandy, Texas. Shop more Kubota package deals at NormandyTractor.com for the largest selection and guaranteed best prices on your Kubota tractor, ATV, utility vehicle, and farm equipment needs. Nobody beats Normandy Tractor. Nobody.
You need help if you've been charged with a crime. The justice system is daunting. You need an experienced defense lawyer to obtain the best results for you. Steve Gustitis, attorney at law, has been helping people fight criminal charges for over 20 years. Call Steve Gustitis now to schedule your free consultation. 823-9111. Qualified people are ready to take your call. Let Steve Gustitis put his experience to work for you. 823-9111. Visit GustitisLaw.com today and get the help that you need. Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes can land you on the wrong side of the law. If so, you need someone on your side. Steve Gustitis, attorney at law, has over 20 years' experience fighting felony and misdemeanor charges. Steve Gustitis will fight for you. Call now to set up your free consultation. 823-9111. Qualified people are ready to take your call. Call 823-9111 or visit GustitisLaw.com to see how Steve Gustitis can put the law on your side.
Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why aren't more things in life customizable? Why should I pay the same amount for a compact parking space as I do for a regular space, right? What kind of lot doesn't reward me for selflessly buying a smaller car to provide more parking room for others?
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
Every pitch, every hit, every win. You can hear Texas A&M baseball on Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM.
Final segment, Beliucci Hour Lunch on this Monday. Be back here on Thursday. Liucci, at the final 16, you got any favorites to win this basketball deal?
I'll tell you who's not my favorite is LSU, because I told the story of how I literally was going in my pocket and didn't have 100 to bet on LSU to win the whole thing, because that number jumped out at me when I was in the sports book and the odds to win a national championship. And I'm like, LSU at 75-1. This was before the Will Wade stuff. What I think is the best point guard, or at least the most dynamic, impactful point guard in the country. And then all those athletes we saw here at Reed Arena. At the time, they were kind of cruising towards an SEC title. I'm going, they're not going to be worse than a 3 seed. Should have a manageable path as most. Why not lay 100 on? Well, I only had 80. Well, now that I'm thinking, well, I'm an idiot for not just betting 80 on him. But I was like, I'm going to go back to the ATM and get more cash because I just took a beating in blackjack. So I walk in to get the cash, and forget why I got it, and just started playing blackjack again. I forgot to put the bet in. So 75-1, they are the last team I want to win it because that's going to cost me about almost $8,000.
They're not going to beat Tom Izzo. They're not.
I would not think so, and that's a huge coaching differential, right? And I still think it would have been even if Will the Thrill Wade was there, the guy that all these LSU fans suck.
They complain more than anybody.
They complain more than anybody. It's always a conspiracy against them. They're still bitching. The guys that were at the Combine said the LSU dudes were bitching about the game at the Combine, and in their private workouts, they're still talking about it. I love it, by the way. But their fans
It's
suck.
going to be a tad hostile in Baton Rouge next year.
They are. And I love the atmosphere in Baton Rouge. I love going to games there for football. But, I mean, they're over here, and they're just rallying to the defense of Will Wade. The guy, I get it. You know, whatever. You want to say everybody cheats. Okay, I'm not going to act like, you know, Texas A&M's never done anything wrong. I don't know enough to sit here and say that I know that. And I would not believe that's true, that no coach that's ever come through here, it goes on everywhere. But there are places where everyone that follows college sports or anyone that's even remotely affiliated with college sports will say they get away with God knows what there. And LSU has always been one of those programs. And when they get the guy on tape saying what Will Wade was saying, I got no sympathy for him. And these poor kids, well, if the poor kids took, or their family members or their trainers or whatever, took a bunch of money, unless the kid didn't take a penny of it, well, I don't feel sorry for them either. Let the kids play the game. Well, if the kid got paid, and I'm making up a number here, if he got paid $100,000, $200,000 to go play at the school, well, by definition, he ain't a poor kid anymore. And by definition, in my opinion, he becomes a professional. Therefore, I don't have to feel sorry. I can root against. I don't have to feel sorry for them that they're having to deal with the distractions. And if I was an LSU fan and it happened to A&M, yes, I'd be rooting like crazy for my Aggies to go win the basketball national title. Because guess what? If they go to a Final Four, if they win the championship, they've won it. You know, Reggie Bush stood on the podium and took the Heisman Trophy. He won it. Who was it where Louisville won the national title in basketball a few years ago. Their fans celebrated it. They partied in the streets. They welcomed the team back. They did a parade. They got to be there and witness their team, you know, reaching the pinnacle. I get it. If LSU has to give up whatever they do this year, they're not taking it away from them. They're not going to take away those memories in that moment. But they are going to, you know, Will Wade is going to lose his job over this, and he should. And LSU is going to, you know, their basketball is going to take a hit because of what happens out of this. I absolutely believe that. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Got a question from YouTube about LSU, so we'll stay there. Got about 2 minutes, Luch. Can you share the LSU tactics to keep kids in state? You said it's political. Can you explain? They grow up with everybody in that entire state is LSU fans, and that's all they hear. And it is the be-all, end-all. Their universe, and I've lived in this state, so I know, their universe stretches from Lake Charles to New Orleans, and that's it. That's their universe. Nothing else happens worth a while outside of that I-10 stretch in Louisiana. And they're bred that way from the time that they're born, and they're purple and gold, everything, their whole life. And so if you don't go to LSU and you're a player that they want, it is seen as some kind of backhanded slap to your state.
Yeah, exactly. And they pressure, whether it's the high school coaches, the politicians in that coach's parish.
I mean, they were literally giving money through a hospital. They're paying people illegally through a hospital.
Allegedly.
I took a Louisiana history class.
Yeah.
I know about the financial history of that state.
I believe it. But, they'll go to great lengths to keep their talent in state, and it's very hard to go recruit there. But you got to keep fighting those battles, and you're going to win some eventually. And then you hope to see them slip on the field, and that's when And that's when those guys, they'll flee the state when things start to not be as rosy. They're not that indebted and locked in. But, I mean, yeah, if they have to involve the governor, it's not like the state of Texas where if Rick Perry's the governor and he's doing all kinds of stuff to favor A&M, it's not going to do you – it's going to do you a real disservice because there are a lot of Texas and Tech and Baylor voters, and same for Abbott right now. If he's doing stuff for Texas, you just can't do that in this state. In Louisiana, it's all LSU.
Right.
So you want to bring a couple of recruits to the governor's mansion to honor, these all-state teams or something that magically have, it's real easy in Louisiana to do what you want to do.
We'll see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. Louis on the other side of the break.
Join Messina